Welcome to ASR's IS Institute. This is our website www.asr.com. We upload current affairs up here daily. So current affairs for the month of October, the video lectures are also available, plus the current affairs is uploaded here on a daily basis, plus on the demand of the students we have also uploaded compiled PDFs. So this is full editorials for the month of October PDF. This is the question bank along with the content for October in two parts, 1 to 15 and 16 to 31, and this is the full news of October compiled topic wise for download. So you can download them here. Now looking at November current affairs for today. So in this video we'll cover 22nd of November news, and in the next video we'll cover editorials and question bank. So this is the news item here. So the current affairs news items from today's newspaper, we have picked up 6 contents. So we'll look at them. The first one, 35,000 crore to ease rural cash crunch. So presently we are seeing that the rural economy is facing a cash crunch, and it is severe, especially presently because of the Rabi sowing season commencing now. We have done this earlier in news as well. MSP for wheat and pulses have been raised by the government, if you recollect. So that was Rabi sowing season commencing. So MSP, minimum support price, is declared by the government presently. So this is the case. So government has now taken a decision that farmers can use old demonetized rupees 500 notes for buying seeds. So this decision has been taken. Plus even the finance minister, Mr. Arun Jaitley, has asked commercial bank chiefs to make sure that a war chest, a fund of rupees 35,000 crore is made available to provide credit to farmers till December 2016. So this initiative has been taken to make sure that farming does not suffer because of demonetization. Also on another side, RBI has also taken initiatives to make sure that loans which have been taken from the banks, the repayment of loans is also difficult for these people who have taken loans. So they have to pay EMIs. So for the month of November and December, loan repayment, EMI repayment would be difficult. So to ease this process too, and to ensure that these loans do not come under non-performing assets, so that's why RBI has given a relaxation here too for all loans, personal loans or commercial loans of less than rupees 1 crore. If they have not been able to pay for the month of November and December, then they can be given the 60-day relaxation and repayment can commence after that. So this also has been taken. This is applicable for all commercial banks as well as NBFCs, non-banking financial companies, and also micro lenders, means microfinancing institutions too. So this is another step taken. So these are in news. Then the next news item is sack 70-year-old cricket bosses, says Lodha committee. So you should know Justice R.M. Lodha, a former Supreme Court judge, was appointed as a head of a 3-member committee to recommend sweeping reforms for BCCI, Board of Control for Cricket in India. So we saw IPL match fixing scam, and post that Supreme Court has undertaken upon itself to reform the BCCI. So the recommendations which had been put forth by this RM Lodha panel were almost all upheld by the Supreme Court. And in its judgment on 18 July 2016, it said all these recommendations have to be implemented by BCCI. So BCCI is resisting this order, and Justice Lodha committee had given another report to talking about how its recommendations have not been implemented. In that, it also suggested that the present board should come down and a fresh board of office bearers should be appointed so that the recommendations could be implemented, because present board is completely against taking initiatives in this direction. So these recommendations was also given. Plus now in its third report, it has further strengthened this case and wants the recommendations to be implemented. So it has again reminded Supreme Court that its 18th July order has not been fulfilled by the BCCI. BCCI on its part gives excuses. It says that we cannot enforce that the state associations, because BCCI has state associations, state cricket associations under it. So that state associations follow these Lodha panel recommendations cannot be ensured by BCCI. So it is trying to come together and provide resistance and ensure that Supreme Court is not able to impose its will on them. It also says that we are not a public authority that which should be controlled as such, but the Supreme Court's point of view is that it is an organization of national importance, plus it is also functioning in the domain of cricket, where it is regulating a sport which is followed by a huge population in India. So it is an important public function performed by it. So that's the reason why even the Lodha panel has recommended that BCCI should come under RTI, Right to Information Act, which is actually applicable for public authorities. So these are the points of view here. So you can look at the first report's recommendations too, which were upheld by the Supreme Court in its July judgment. So these recommendations, some major ones were: betting should be legalized. It said no ministers or government servants should be part of the office bearers of BCCI. No office bearer should be more than 70 years of age. The term of BCCI president can be maximum 2 terms, and each tenure would be of 3 years. For other office bearers, it can be maximum 3 terms, means up to 9 years. So that's what it's asking present in its third report too, that those who have completed 9 years of age should step down. Those who have completed 9 years of term should step down. Those who have completed 70 years of age should step down. Government ministers should step down. So that would also bring into effect the recommendations too, plus present office bearers would also be stepping down. So again, it is reiterating its terms. So BCCI should come under RTI. One state should have only one association with voting rights, so equal voting rights as such. No city-based or institution-based units should be there for cricket. So we have railways and such units for cricket. So those should be eliminated. Only state-based associations. It also says that there should be a players' association to ensure that cricketers have a say in the board's functioning as well. So these were its original recommendations. Presently in its third report now, to further ensure that its recommendations are brought into effect, it says that former Home Secretary Mr. G.K. Pillai can be appointed as a guide to the BCCI. So if Supreme Court accepts this, then this would take place, and he can guide BCCI in award of contracts, how contracts are awarded by BCCI, bringing in transparency norms and auditing of BCCI. So he will guide BCCI in these matters. It says that he should also be allowed to hire his own team for his functioning. So this is there. Then ban BCCI office bearers who are not Indian citizens too. Those with criminal background, those of unsound mind. So these are also unsound mind insolvent. These are also some suggestions presently given in its report. So unsound minds means cannot function effectively. Insolvent means person who has gone bankrupt. Then so these are the recommendations presently, again reiterating and bringing into effect that present office bearers are changed, and the BCCI is controlled by the Supreme Court through a guide, so that the recommendations which it wants to implement can be implemented. So this is the further development in this case now. So we'll have to wait what Supreme Court does with this third report, whether it accepts it, and then what would be BCCI's response then. Then this news item is about infrastructure related. Lucknow-Agra 6-lane expressway has been inaugurated. So it is the longest expressway road in the country at 302 kilometers. So it is connecting Lucknow and Agra, both in UP. So this will further be connected with the Yamuna Expressway, which is there between Delhi and Agra. So it will give a complete connectivity from UP to Delhi. So this is there. Also a grand show was initiated for this. So it is designed in such a way that emergency takeoff and landing of fighter planes can take place. So 6 IF fighter planes, Indian Air Force fighter planes, also did takeoff and landings at this inauguration. So this is the UP government's project. Looking at the Yamuna Expressway too. So this is also important from geography perspective, and in geography UPSC asks you questions about regions which lie on the cities or places which lie on the rivers. So this is Yamuna river as such, you can see, and this is a Yamuna Expressway connecting Agra to Delhi. So these are the places surrounding it too, and which come along this Yamuna Expressway. So you can see Mathura, Vrindavan, Jewar, all these are places which lie along this Yamuna river on this roadway. Then the next news item is diluted HIV bill leaves activists shocked. So a bill to end discrimination against HIV positive people, plus to ensure that treatment, antiretroviral drugs are available for HIV patients. The government had framed a bill, HIV and AIDS bill. So this bill has been presently finalized by the cabinet to be placed before the parliament, and in this final draft of this bill it is seen that the ensurement of providing retroviral drugs to HIV positive patients, that aspect has been diluted. So government now says that it will focus only on prevention of HIV as far as possible, and it will not focus on treatment. So this is a major point which has been diluted. India is said to be the pharmacy of the world. So it can make sure that drugs for life-threatening diseases can be made available at very cheap prices, even in underdeveloped countries, in African countries and other developing countries. So why cannot it ensure this in its country itself? So in India itself, if ensurement that drugs would be available is not given by the government, then what would be the status of these HIV positive people? That is a big question. So it only talks of prevention and prevention of discrimination, prevention of the disease too. So prevention of discrimination, what it had provided for was that it would prohibit discrimination in educational institutions, in hospitals, in offices. So all these in employment, there would be no discrimination against these people. No person can be compelled to reveal his HIV status. So these initiatives were already there in place, but this about treatment, they have diluted this provision. So there is shock from the HIV activists, which we are seeing presently. Even we see that they are discriminated against in providing rented house too. So they are here also, there is seen that they are discriminated against. So here again, right to privacy, that their HIV status may not be revealed, is provided. And even if a person is HIV positive, you cannot discriminate and say that for such a person rented property cannot be provided. So all this is there in place. Then the next news item is give tax breaks for digital payment, says Niti Aayog. So Niti Aayog is the government think tank, the successor to Planning Commission, which had been scrapped by the present government. So Niti Aayog members give suggestions about how to improvise the functioning of the economy on various factors, dimensions, various sectors. They give their suggestions and points of view to the Prime Minister. So it is the main chair is the Prime Minister. So presently Niti Aayog has proposed that there should be tax breaks given to consumers and merchants for debit and credit card payments. So we want to move towards a cashless economy. So those who make transactions using debit or credit card, not using cash, should be given tax breaks, plus those who use cash transactions for a particular limit, means a huge amount of money in which cash transaction is taking place, and in such a case there should be a surcharge levied on such cash transactions. So this is a suggestion given. It also says that there should be encouragement of use of mobile wallets. So this can be used even for government sector schemes like direct benefit transfer scheme. So mobile wallets can be linked to this too. So direct benefit transfer ensures that the subsidies which the government provides is provided in cash form and is directly paid into the person's bank account. So for this also M-wallet can be used as against the bank account. So this provision should also be there. So this linking is another suggestion given by Niti Aayog. Then another part which it talks of is that for the retail market, the e-commerce market, which is not well developed in the country, there is much more scope for development and it needs to be encouraged. So e-commerce in India contributes only 1% of total retail market, and in China today it is 14%. So there is much more scope for its growth, and that will be a growth leverage for the entire economy as well. So that has been propagated. Also, e-consumers are not protected under Consumer Protection Act presently. So even ensuring that they also get protection as consumers, the Consumer Protection Bill 2015 should make provisions for this. So this is this has not been passed yet, it's still in the Lok Sabha. So this should be put into effect. So these are the recommendations which it is giving. So we'll see what suggestions, whether they are taken forward, implemented or not. That will be decided by the government. This is a body which can only suggest. Then the next news item is discovery of stem cells, special stem cells in fruit flies to help study diseases. So first of all, we need to understand what is a stem cell. So a stem cell is basically an undifferentiated cell, and it can replicate itself, and it can differentiate into any type of cell. It can become a heart cell, it can become red blood cell, white blood cell, nerve cells, the neurons, any type of cell. So this is a property of stem cells, and stem cells are presently of two types. So the two types of stem cells can be embryonic stem cells and adult stem cells. Adult stem cells are also called somatic cells. So these embryonic cells means the child, when it is born from a single cell. When the sperm and the egg meet, so that is one single cell formed, and then it multiplies itself, and then the embryo is formed. So this embryonic stem cells are present. So these are undifferentiated cells present. So then gradually they differentiate into various types of cells, and different parts of the child are formed, and then the embryo develops into a fetus. So these are embryonic stem cells, and another is adult stem cells. Means even in adults there are these stem cells present in some parts of the body. So these are also of two types, as you see, hematopoietic and mesenchymal. So hematopoietic is with respect to related to the blood. So they are present in the umbilical cord blood. They are also present in the bone marrow of large bones. Then they are also present, these mesenchymal are present in bone marrow as well as in dental pulp. So here too stem cells are present even in an adult. So these are undifferentiated cells. Next, we look at the hierarchy of stem cells. So some stem cells, initially stem cells are totipotent, means totally potential, means they can differentiate into any type of cell in the human body. Then at a later stage they become pluripotent. So in this stage they can differentiate into multiple types of cells in the human body. So they have that potential. So that is pleural potential, and here is totally potential. Then the pluripotent cells and form different types of stem cells. So blood stem cells, and then further forming the actual cells in the human body. So this is there. Then the news which we are looking at presently, the news is that for the first time researchers have discovered hematopoietic stem cells in Drosophila, which is fruit fly. So this is an invertebrate, and this invertebrate is a good model for studying of stem cells because it shares many similarities with humans. So it is used for stem cell studies. So these hematopoietic stem cells are also present in Drosophila, which is an invertebrate. These are present in humans, but such type of stem cells present in Drosophila have been discovered for the first time. Earlier it was known that there is a precursor stem cell which is present. So of course stem cells are present and they can progenitor. It's called a progenitor stem cell which is present. So they are only precursors to differentiated cells. So these were present. Now it has been found that hematopoietic stem cells are also present. The type similar to ones in humans. So when this has been discovered, that means that diseases which take place because of these hematopoietic stem cells which are present in the embryo. So even in a 6-week-old embryo, we see that hematopoietic stem cells related diseases can emerge. So when these diseases are present, like leukemia, Fanconi anemia, so such diseases can be cured with the help of stem cell therapy. So these many diseases, stem cells can be used to cure many diseases because these are undifferentiated cells. So if these stem cells are inserted in any part of the human body where there is a damage and they are conditioned to differentiate into that particular type of cell, then like for example, if there is some injury in to the heart wall and stem cells are inserted there, and these cells are conditioned to differentiate into heart wall cells, then they will form those cells and it can be cured. So it has huge potential to cure diseases. Of course, using embryonic stem cells is very controversial because for that embryos need to be harvested and stem cells removed from them and used for this purpose. So that is banned in various countries because it has an ethical concern. You're killing embryos. So this is there, but adult stem cells can also be used. So it is a little more difficult. Embryonic stem cells are totipotent. So these are the differences. So let's see presently what this discovery has huge potential to cure various diseases in humans, which is the initiative right now. So these are the news items for today. Thank you.